So right now, here's where you're at. Divorce, loss, failure, setback. Something shattered in your life somewhere. And you have all these unanswered questions going on right now. But the truth is, you know it's damn time to make a change. And masculinity loves to push away change. We're always the one, when the woman walks out the door, we'll change anything. When we're losing kids or our custody, we'll change anything. When we're losing money, we'll change anything. But we rarely get to the other side of that. And I want to get you to the other side in this training video. So here you are. The question is, how did you get here? And I'm going to map you through how you actually got here. And you're going to see yourself in this training video on the whiteboard, how it all came together and how quickly we can recreate it so you can mount the most powerful comeback. I want you to be able to architect the most powerful, perfect comeback ever, because it can be done. I've done it a few times. Hundreds of men that I've worked with have now done it. We call this the grind. This is when we start out with this idea, this vision we have of building our empire, whatever that is for you. Only you know what that is for you. I can tell you mine's always been in alignment with my purpose. I have known my purpose since the day I could walk, and it always had to do with making a difference and taking a stand for others. That's what always mattered to me. So you came up with some idea, some vision of what you thought you wanted to be and do with your life or your business or your marriage. Just as women have this idea of the perfect man and it doesn't always work out, we have this vision of our perfect life and business and wealth and status, and it also doesn't always work out. So we charted this course based upon this idea. And for some of you, you started to succeed. You made decisions. You made choices. You took risks. You made things happen to get where you are. And whether you know it or not, those choices and decisions and behaviors are still running you right now. But we did something very powerful that the male mind does extremely well, that the female mind doesn't, that testosterone does really well, is that we ignore red flags. I'm here to tell you, brother, that your setback, your divorce, your failure, your loss, whatever that was, you actually set it up before it happened and you walked right into it and you don't even know it because it's unconscious. Of course, no one says, I'm going to get in business and lose everything. That would be absurd. That's insane. But all of this I'm revealing to you right now is your unconscious mind that you can't see, you can't fix, and you cannot figure it out because you're a part of the problem. We ignore red flags like, no, so-and-so said this idea was great and we're going to head down that path. Or if we could just land that marketing team, we'll generate enough leads. Or, gosh, that's the woman for me. No, we want kids in the house and we're moving forward. It's all going to happen. And then something doesn't work. We ignore these insights, our intuition, our own instincts, because we're constantly trading who we are for success, thinking that when we are successful, we'll be who we are and have everything we want. The two biggest challenges for men is, how do I have it all, right? How do I get this idea, this vision of man? And then how do I keep it all together? Some of you just haven't had the chance yet to have it all, whatever that looks like for you. Some of you have, like me, but you lost it. And very few of you watching this right now have it all and you still have it all, but you're struggling to keep it together. And if you're really honest with yourself, you're probably not that on top of your game like you think you are. It's a tough pill to swallow. I've swallowed it many times. But you ignore these red flags and all of the sudden, something starts to happen. Let's take a look. While we're building our empire, right? We like to put things in boxes so we feel like we have control, but we've got money and family and success and emotions and spirit and then traveling. This is our empire that we're building. The way that we want it, our terms, our legacy, because that's what men are supposed to do. But these red flags always come back to haunt us. And all of a sudden, something happens. Wham! A setback, a divorce, a loss, a death, a failure. Your wife walks out on you, a child dies. Your business partner took money and screwed you. I've heard all the stories. I've got clients who, out of the blue, a tornado came and ripped everything out. Like, what are the odds of that? Something happened. You had a setback or a series of setbacks because you ignored all those red flags, just like we ignore going to the doctor when we're sick. And now you've been deactivated. What happened to you? Something happened, or a series of things happened to you. So something happened. You now have this setback, some failure, a loss of some sort. Like, what happened? Let me show you what happens to men when they face a setback or a failure. If you think of our brain as a breaker box, right? We have all these sub-breakers in our subconscious mind. And there's also a main breaker, right? Everyone knows that when you switch the main, everything goes back on. But every once in a while, when we ignore certain red flags, or we come home and we haven't traveled in years, and the wife's upset, and money's low, and business partners aren't showing up, and then the kids need more attention, and all of a sudden, these small breaker switches start slowly flipping off. And it starts to deplete our energy. The biggest challenge men have is they try to build up this big vision, this empire, but they can't hold it up. And while they're holding it up, holding up all the balls in the air, they're slowly getting chipped away. Your child needs your presence. He's struggling with school. Your wife wants more romance. But there's just not enough of you to go around. And then your health starts to fade away and fail. And then pretty soon enough switches and the whole main switch goes off, and now you're a little bit in a crisis or a panic. But that's the path that happens for men. My job is to come in and take care of all of these and then switch this back on. And I'm going to show you in a moment how to do that. But I want you to get this. What you've really experienced is nothing more than a loss of energy. Masculine is just energy. That's all it is. And when you've been switched off, you feel defeated and depleted. You don't have enough internal resources to generate momentum or turn this around because you're just not feeling well. Like, you are at an all-time low. And this is a critical area because men don't like to be vulnerable. We don't like to feel like we're not in control. And this is where we start reaching for porn or affairs, alcohol, drugs. We leave our wife. We abandon our children. We start watching reruns of Law and Order and Rocky 1 through 5 to try and get our testosterone back up. This is a tough time. But if you're willing to see through it and go to the other side and be a rare percentage of men who go to the other side, I can promise you great things will happen. But watch this. This is your ultimate opportunity because now we're starting to question our identity. We're now looking at what it means to be masculine. And you're starting to wonder about your why. See, everything we do when we ignore the messages, when we ignore our truth, and brother, something inside of you has been screaming to live your truth, to be the man you came here to be, to do what you were born to do. And somewhere you traded that up for success and got off track. I know I did. And now you have this opportunity to look at how you set it up. The pressure and the burden men put on themselves to succeed, like no one man can handle. It's not even a fair game. You've put yourself in a situation that's almost impossible for one man to hold it all up. You can't be everywhere all at the same time. And things are constantly pulling at you. It gets heavy. There's never enough energy to go around. It's never enough. It's never enough. Because that's where masculine lives. It's never enough. And even when you succeed, it's still not enough. You have to keep going. That's the old masculine conversation. That gets to shift. And when it does, you're going to have more freedom. Have you ever noticed how the most successful people in the world who have it all are rarely free or happy? They're always on the go. They're always stressed out. We don't want that shit. Just say no to that. That's not who we are and what we're up to. But right now, these are the most important things you need to be looking at. You need to be looking at your identity, your why, and what it really means to be masculine so you can mount your comeback. So here you are. You've just suffered what we call an energy loss. And when that happens, when you've been depleted of your energy and you're trying to mount a comeback, it's really hard because what you really lost is your sense of self. Your sense of certainty has been shattered a bit. Your psyche's been a little messed with. Your sense of security as a man has been shaken up a little bit. It's hard. Everyone our whole life has told us you have to be successful, protect, provide, procreate. That's the role of man. And if you're not doing that, you're not being a man. And it's total bullshit. There is so much more to you than just protecting and providing and sacrificing who you are to look good in the eyes of everyone else and prove to everyone else, including yourself, that you are somebody. Let that shit go. Because that's the old masculine and it's destined to fail. You cannot sacrifice who you are for one day to become who you are and cover it up with success. Men use success as the greatest cover-up. And I want to show you how to transition out of that. But right now, when you have lost energy and you've lost your sense of self, you start to lose control. Then you start losing balance over your empire. Remember, this is what all man's empire looks like. We put everything into boxes. Our wife, the money, the family, we spoke about that earlier. And now it's starting to become imbalanced. And we lose our life force. This is where men start to lose their physique. Their body starts to change. Their sexuality starts to change. The people around you may not even recognize you after a while. How are you showing up? Because you're carrying the burden of everything and this empire, this idea you had to manifest. And then we become exhausted. And most eventually burn out. But something amazing happens when men burn out. Something extraordinary happens when a man burns out. He starts to flatline. He neuters himself. He's just kind of dead. He's there, but not really alive. He's in his body, but he's shut down in it. He's in his head constantly thinking, but he's just spinning in circles. He's not really there. The passion isn't oozing through him. The purpose isn't coming out of him. He's just flatlines, kind of dead. And here's what's really profound about this, is when we flatline, we just chop ourselves in half. Call it the half-man syndrome. Half-man cannot hold up his empire. It's too heavy, it's too burdensome, it's too overwhelming. When you've deactivated your masculinity, all that's left is you have to hide or you have to feel your feminine energy. And most men don't want to do either but hide. Run away. Because that's what masculinity does when shit's not working. We run or we hide. We bail out. Only to realize that right here, you are one step away. One step, like this close to completely transforming it all. Because right here, there is this zone called the confrontation zone. And in this zone is where transformation gets to occur. You are so close to changing it if you just stay with it a little bit longer. The confrontation zone is the breaking point. This is where you can architect that comeback. And when men meet me, they're somewhere in this spectrum, not even realizing there's a lot of shame and guilt in there. And we hold on to it. We'll hold on to it till the day we die. But when you're here, And men start to come to me, and they're deactivated, they're buried, they're in a crisis, they're shut down, whatever it is. As soon as they get here, you now have choices. And here's your 3 choices. You can give in, go back to the status quo, tell everyone you tried really hard and you ran your own business and it just didn't work out, and find a way to justify how you're okay with it. 2, you can give up. You can claim you've been defeated, and then you'll have to justify how to live with feeling defeated. And once you do that, you will show up like a defeated guy. And you really won't get much else. Or the 3rd one, you can be the man on top and architect the most powerful comeback. Why? Because you deserve it. Why? Because it can be done. Why? Because you said so and this is who you are. You now get to take a stand because there are choices that are available that aren't in any of this stuff. The powerful thing about architecting your setback, failure, and divorce, and how it was already set up and destined to fail in so many ways that you ignored, is this. You can uncreate and recreate it even better this time. So check this out. We're going to talk now about the comeback. What's really required of this comeback?